By the way, on sidebar, because I wanted to talk about Anthony Edwards. He had a game winner against the Spurs last night. Is he having another underrated season? His numbers are great. The Timberwolves again are like a dark horse to win the West. Are we just like not talking about them enough in his season and his growth? I feel like he's a little bit under the radar.
Yeah, it's tough because when guys have been great for so long, consistency, sometimes you don't see the marginal growth. People always want a big splash and a jump. Everybody wants, Denny, what's Portland?
Advia,
Yeah, Denny, it's got to be a Denny Advia jump. You know what I mean? For people to notice, you know, Ant's gotten better every single season.
yeah,
But when it's marginal like that, because he's been at such a high level already, again, he's better this year than he was last year. Is it this giant jump? I don't know how much more of a giant jump you could be. He's one of the best players in the NBA. So it's like, I don't even see people talk about Shea unless it's foul baiting. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, but these guys take little marginal jumps. At that level, marginal is huge. Going from like 30 to 32 is a big jump.
I want to
And then
ask you, Austin, what's the like? Give me the difference between like getting from a role player. Let's say like let's go from 10 points to 15 to 15 to 20 to 20 to 20. Like, what do you
yeah,
think is like?
I think it gets harder, obviously, the higher you get up. Like, making a jump from 10 to 15 a lot of times can just depend upon opportunity, right? A
Right.
guy who goes on one team, Nikhil Alexander averaged 10 points. He's averaging like 18, 17, whatever he's averaging, damn near 20 for the Hawks. That's Nikhil Alexander just didn't get better this summer. Now, obviously, he's probably improved a little bit, worked out, did his whole thing, came back with a couple tools sharpened. But opportunity was handed to him in Atlanta, especially with Trey out. This guy had the ball in his hands more than he's ever had in his career. Opportunity allowed that to happen. So jumping from like 10 to 15 and 20 can be done, again, if you're improving as a player and if opportunity meets it. The jump from like 25 to 30, these are guys who are already at the top. All right. These are guys who are already getting the ball in their hands. These are guys that every night they go out, the other team that they're going against, the ops, their main goal on the depth charts in terms of who they have to slow down is you. So to make a 2 or 3 point jump when you're already the number one option is a big deal. It's like what Tyrese Maxey is doing right now is incredibly, incredibly impressive. He went from being an all-star to a superstar. That's the type of jump. What Cade is doing right now, numbers wise, might not blow you away, but you see it in his play. They're just taking jumps. So I see what Ant, and you're right, he is under the radar. I don't think Ant gets enough credit. I think people are hard on him about his 3 point shooting in terms of how many he shoots, just given his athletic ability and his, you know, ability to probably get to the line at will if he really, really wanted to put his head down. But you can't deny the success rate at what's coming. This guy's the third fastest to reach a certain amount of points. I think it was like MJ and Kobe than him. It's like, what the hell is like, that's a nutty stat. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's beat Steph's record for three. I mean, he's doing it all. So it's like, you can't deny him. And even I've been hard on him, about he shoots too many threes, but like, bro, his percentages back it up, his numbers back it up. He continues to improve. He is a guy that in the fourth quarter really turns on the defensive thing. Throughout the game, he can have some, mishaps just due to how much is on the offensive shoulders of him. But yeah, I like the Timberwolves. Sometimes you don't need to just make this big jump. We talked about this in previous podcasts before in previous years. It's not always about the big splash. I love Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey's always looking for some just big ass trade. You know what I'm saying? He goes for it. Sometimes stability and consistency and just waiting your turn. You just said it. John Stockton was in Utah forever. Dirk was with those teams forever. Some of those teams, but that Spurs team was the same damn team. Some years it just worked. Some years these guys were clicking and it just worked. And then the next year they'd have that same team and lose first round of Memphis. And you're like, what?
That's a
They,
good point. Yeah.
you know what I mean? They didn't just go like, we got to change it. We got to get rid of Duncan, get rid of Ginobili. No, they just kept it just
That's a
staying
good
the
point
same.
because they won like 5 titles in like 15 years, like sprinkled in. It's like it wasn't like 4 years in a row and that was it. Like,
No, yeah, they
yeah,
had so many years where like they just didn't. Again, they always made the playoffs, but they just get smacked in the playoffs. You'd be like, it's the Spurs. And next year, they just couldn't be beaten. They just beaten everybody. It's the same damn team. So it's just like sometimes like consistency and chemistry and all these different things, like that stuff really matters, man. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Another part about going from good to great, when you're going from okay to good, you kind of take people, you catch them off guard, right? And
yeah,
like when you're going like when you're what Tyrese Maxey or even like Anthony Edwards is doing, the scouting report has figured you out. They know everything you do, and then you're getting better still and going against them with all the attention and eyes on you, and you're still getting better at that level versus like, yeah, going out there and going from 10 to 20 or 10 to 15. It's like, yeah, maybe people weren't noticing and you caught them off guard. Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Maxey aren't catching anyone off guard. So if their stats are getting better with all the focus on them, yeah, that's probably a lot harder for sure.
And I'll
I
be
want to
honest with
talk
you, like
about.
you. Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, no,
No,
no. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, even just like, on an off subject, like I'm not saying you can't make a move for Ja Morant. I'm just saying it's got to make sense because the Ja Ant dynamic does excite me a little bit. And Timberwolves have had the same team, and it does seem like from the outside they're hitting a wall, but that wall's been the conference finals, guys. That's a hell of a wall to be continuing to hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like this is a team that's struggling to make the first round, or they've 2 years in a row, this big roster with all these big names, Gobert, Randall, Towns before. And they just first round exits, bro. This team's gone to the conference finals 2 years in a row. They went with Carl, they went without Carl. They got the same team back. Obviously, they lost Nikhil, which really hurt them. And they haven't really quite figured out like what they were going to do to kind of get back of what Nikhil gave them, some of that toughness, that defense. They're missing the playmaking as well because Nikhil can make a play or two. I'm not saying he's a point guard, but he can put the ball on the floor and make plays. You obviously seen what he's doing in Atlanta. Michael Conley's gotten older. There are some things there. And I talked to Mike a month ago, and he's like, this is probably it. This is probably my last year. So, like, that's where his head's at. Timberwolves are trying to win a championship. So, those things don't coincide. And it is a glaring issue with the guard spot. When I say that because it's the ball is going to end up being in Ant's hands too much in the playoffs. What happens is he's going to end up running into a team like OKC that's very defensively sound, and they're going to be like, they only have one playmaker, guys. So every time he has the ball, we're going to load the up. He's going to have to be the
So
greatest
it makes
player.
them less predictable. Their offense is less predictable for OKC.
Very. Whereas if you have a Ja Morant, it's very hard to predict what the hell they're going to do when you got two guys attacking you downhill. It's a little different. You know what I'm saying? So it does intrigue me. It does intrigue me. That excites me a little bit.